Stanford University. Pencil?
Pencil.
He failed. Peanut butter pencil.
Number one on all repeats.
Yeah. All repeat. What is that?
Both repeats. The number, both repeats.
Both repeats. Third movement.
At the same tempo?
Battlestar. So not too fast, you said, Peter?
Yeah. Just casual. Easy battle.
Battlestar.
So how fast is not fast?
Okay.
Assuming 3, not in 1.
about 5?
Living dangerously fast.
Ready when you are.
Ready?
Yeah.
I'll start it.
This is the last chunk of students coming down right
Okay,
now.
so like 2 more minutes or something?
Yeah, probably about that. Yeah.
Let's get Kanzonic Missionary to 4, and that'll be it.
We're doing 4?
Yeah.
Maybe, yeah. Maybe it takes them a second, but yeah.
Cool.
And then we're done for now? And we don't do a processional for the faculty?
Just me that starts. That start.
Let's go back to number 6.
6132.
Yeah.
Start with 6 again.
I don't think we're quite. Yes, we are ready. 6.
You guys got it?
Welcome, friends, to Stanford University's Baccalaureate service for the class of 2026. Today, friends, we gather. We gather in celebration to mark the end of one journey and the beginning of another. Planned and led by members of your class, Baccalaureate offers us an opportunity to be able to pause and reflect on our shared journey here through Stanford. Here in the shelter of frost, surrounded by the beauty of trees that you can glimpse through this shade covering you at the moment, we're able to pause, to sit with one another. We have one last brief moment as a class before the chaos and commotion of commencement begins tomorrow. The chaos and commotion of all of your families wanting to get even closer to you in this service, which is exactly what you should be doing. Now, for many of you, this ending is in fact exactly like your beginning. Do you remember gathering here in this very same space 4 years ago? It was convocation. It was your official welcome to Stanford University. Do you remember where you sat? Point to it if you remember. Do you remember who sat next to you? Point to them. But most of all, do you remember how you felt? Excited, nervous, uncertain, hopeful, perhaps a little overwhelmed, maybe even a little sad to be leaving your familiar home for a new, unknown one. 4 years ago, I was here too. I stood at this very podium at the very beginning of the ceremony, and I invited you to do something. Do you remember? It's okay if you don't. I invited you to look around. I told you to look sideways, both ways, forwards and backwards, and when you didn't do it, just like you're not doing it now, I said I really meant it. So go ahead. Look around. See your classmates. Look at your family and friends who were in that same spot 4 years ago as you came as first-year students here to Stanford University. Now, the reason I do this each and every year is because I want to remind us that Stanford is not an idea. It isn't a reputation. No, Stanford is a people. It's us. It's all of us gathered here. We make Stanford what Stanford is. Back then, I told you this. I said life is more than the worldly successes we measure. Its value lies in the relationships we cultivate, the bridges we build, the compassion and care we give and receive. In the end, it's about how we treat one another and ourselves that ultimately determines if we flourish or if we fail. These words, my friends, ring as true today as they did 4 years ago. So go ahead. You know what's coming. Look around. Go ahead. Sideways, backwards, forwards. Look to your families. Wave to them. Thank them. Friends, look how far we've come. But this day is not only about celebrating what we've accomplished, but also beginning to imagine who we are becoming. And so we are grateful for the two speakers who have spent their Stanford years pointing us in that direction. This morning, we are honored to welcome as our keynote speaker, Dr. Lerone Martin. As the Martin Luther King Jr. Centennial Professor in Religious Studies and African American Studies, and the director of Stanford's Martin Luther King Jr. Research and Education Institute, Dr. Martin spends his days helping us listen more carefully to the voices that have shaped our nation and its moral imagination. A distinguished scholar of American religion, politics, and culture, Dr. Martin is an award-winning author whose work has received national recognition and whose insights are regularly sought by major media outlets and documentary projects. Through his teaching, writing, and public scholarship, he has become one of the leading interpreters of the role of religion in American public life. As only the second director in the Institute's history, and as senior editor of the King Papers Project, he oversees the remarkable work of preserving and making accessible Dr. King's sermons, speeches, letters, and unpublished writings. Now, in both reading Dr. Martin's work and having had the privilege to listen to him lecture, I might say preach, but I find that I am struck over and over and over again by the way in which Dr. Martin is able to draw our attention not only to movements, but to people, not only to history, but to formation. He reminds us that the lives of consequence are not born overnight, but rather are shaped and formed over time through relationships, commitments, and acts of courage. We are so grateful for Dr. Martin's wisdom, scholarship, and leadership, and we welcome you here today. Thank you. Our student speaker this morning is Lamia Sikandar Butt. A member of the class of 2026, Lamia comes to us from Toronto and Dubai. An economics major with honors and a minor in South Asian studies, she has spent her time at Stanford bringing together diverse ideas for the sake of the wider world. Her work spans education, finance, climate resilience, and global development. Her honors thesis explores the financial case for climate-resilient schools in Pakistan, bringing together rigorous analysis with a deep commitment to human flourishing. Beyond the classroom, she has invested herself fully in the life of this university, serving both as a resident assistant and a teaching assistant, leading student organizations, including Stanford Women in Business, Pakistanis at Stanford, Alpha Phi, and designing your Muslim life. Friends, the list of Lamia's achievements is long, but perhaps most important is her remarkable ability to build community, which we have witnessed, to encourage others, and to help each and every person feel seen and supported along the way. Lamia, your presence today on this stage serves as a sign and a symbol to so many of what is possible. And so this day, we offer you our deepest gratitude for expressing the emotions, the desires, the hopes of this class. Thank you. Friends, through days that seemed endless and years that passed with the blink of an eye, we have arrived at this very moment. How do you feel? Excited? Nervous? Uncertain? Hopeful? Perhaps a little overwhelmed, and maybe even a little sad to be leaving now this your familiar home for a new, unknown one. Tomorrow, at this very time, the graduation ceremony will be underway. And so, in this brief liminal moment, nestled between the past and the future, let us pause and be together. I now invite our associate deans to lead us in a moment of silence to honor the students with whom we began this journey but are no longer with us.
Today, we remember and honor the lives of Daniel Aaron Naroditsky, bachelor student in history, Arachar Chudder, undeclared student, Catherine Dakin Carter Brunner, master student in liberal arts, Tomohisa Yoda, PhD student in applied physics, Kyungtae Park, PhD student in political science, Pengli Wang, PhD student in chemical engineering. Let us reflect on the light they brought into our lives and into the lives of all those they touched. In this moment of silence, let us hold them in our hearts. Amen.
Kindness by Naomi Shihab Nye. Before you know what kindness really is, you must lose things. Feel the future dissolve in a moment, like salt in a weakened broth. What you held in your hand, what you counted and carefully saved, all this must go so you know how desolate the landscape can be between the regions of kindness. How you ride and ride, thinking the bus will never stop. The passengers eating maize and chicken will stare out the window forever.
Before you learn the tender gravity of kindness, you must travel where the Indian in a white poncho lies dead by the side of the road. You must see how this could be you, how he too was someone who journeyed through the night with plans and the simple breath that kept him alive.
Before you know kindness as the deepest thing inside, you must know sorrow as the other deepest thing. You must wake up with sorrow. You must speak to it till your voice catches the thread of all sorrows and you see the size of the cloth. Then, it is only kindness that makes sense anymore. Only kindness that ties your shoes and sends you out into the day to gaze at bread. Only kindness that raises its head from the crowd of the world to say, "It is I you have been looking for," and then goes with you everywhere, like a shadow or a friend.
Sitting here wanting memories to teach me to see the beauty in the world through my own eyes. I am sitting here wanting memories to teach me to see the beauty in the world through my own eyes. You used to rock me in the cradle of your arms. You said you'd hold me till the pains of life were gone. You said you'd comfort me in times like these, and now I need you, now I need you. and you are gone. I am sitting here wanting memories to teach me to see the beauty in the world through my own eyes. Since you've gone and left me, there's been so little beauty, but I know I saw it clearly through your eyes. Now the world outside is such a cold and bitter place. Here inside I have few things that will calm my soul. And when I try to hear your voice above the storms of life, then I remember all the things that I was told. I am sitting here wanting memories to teach me to see the beauty in the world through my own eyes. I am sitting here wanting memories to teach me to see the beauty in the world through my own eyes. I think on the things that made me feel so wonderful when I was young. I think on the things that made me laugh, made me dance, made me sing. I think on the things that made me grow into a being full of pride. I think on these things, for they are true. I am sitting here wanting memories to teach me to see the beauty in the world through my own eyes. I know that you were gone, but now I know you're with me. You are the voice that whispers all I need to hear. I know a please, a thank you, and a smile will take me far. I know that I am you and you are me and we are one. I know that who I am is numbered in each grain of sand. I know that I've been blessed again and over again. I am sitting here wanting memories to teach me to see the beauty in the world through my own eyes. I am sitting here wanting memories to teach me to see the beauty in the world through my own eyes. I
Excerpts from Song of the Open Road by Walt Whitman. Afoot and lighthearted, I take to the open road. Healthy, free, the world before me. The long brown path before me leading wherever I choose. From this hour, I ordain myself loosed of limits and imaginary lines, going where I list, my own master, total and absolute, listening to others, considering well what they say, pausing, searching, receiving, contemplating. Gently, but with undeniable will, divesting myself of the holds that would hold me.
Here is realization. Here is a man tallied. He realizes here what he has in him: the past, the future, majesty, love. If they are vacant of you, you are vacant of them. Listen, I will be honest with you. I do not offer the old, smooth prizes, but offer rough, new prizes. These are the days that must happen to you. You shall not heap up what is called riches. You shall scatter with lavish hand all that you earn or achieve. You but arrive at the city to which you were destined. You hardly settle yourself to satisfaction before you are called by an irresistible call to depart. Forever alive, forever forward. They go, they go. I know that they go, but I know not where they go. But I know that they go toward the best, toward something great.
Let the paper remain on the desk unwritten, and the book on the shelf unopened. Let the tools remain in the workshop. Let the money remain unearned. Let the school stand. Mind not the cry of the teacher. Let the preacher preach in the pulpit. Let the lawyer plead in the court, and the judge expound the law. Comrado, I give you my hand. I give you my love, more precious than money. I give you myself before teaching or law. Will you give me yourself? Will you come travel with me? Shall we stick by each other as long as we live?
Friends, it is so good to be with all of you for this momentous occasion where we mark the spiritual contributions to our time together. We do all of this in preparation for commencement, a time that we look to as a time of starting, to commence something. But really, commencement simply means to begin again, to start again. But before we do that, I think it's important that we acknowledge where we've been, where we've come from. And this is special to me because class of 2026, I started with you all. I moved here in 2022, started here on the faculty the same time all of you arrived. And if you're anything like me, when you arrived 4 years ago, you were in the midst of a whirlwind. I arrived 4 years ago without my beautiful family. They stayed behind for a couple months. So I was here by myself, like many of you when your parents dropped you off and finally left. And like you, I was trying to figure out the small things, right? Where am I going to get my coffee from now? Where the heck is Target? How am I going to figure out where I'm going to shop? What am I going to eat? What am I going to do? Did I pack my deodorant? You know, the important things. And then, of course, class of 2026, when all of that ran through my mind, and I finally laid in this new bed that was to be my new home, the realness hits. I'm here by myself. I don't know anyone. What in the world was I thinking? Did I make the right choice? Did Stanford make the right choice? And now look at us. Here we are today looking good. I'm going to take a risk here and say that I think the apt word is that we look tea. Did I get that right? For everyone who's not seated at the cool table, tea means you look hot, like a hot pot of tea. You look hot. I just learned that about an hour ago, so I'm a cool kid, at least for the next 20 minutes. And we're able to stand here and look so good because of the life that you have built for yourself. Life is not starting after commencement. Life has already started, and you all have built a beautiful life here at Stanford. I like the way that Martin Luther King Jr. talks about building a complete life. He talks about it in 3 ways. He says there's the length of life, the breadth of life, and the height of life. Now, the length of life is not simply longevity. Longevity has its place. But the length of life is the push you make towards reaching your goals. And all of you here have, by virtue of the stoles you have on, have made progress on the length of life. You've started companies, you've received fellowships, you've received jobs, and also you've received that ultimate mythical thing called rest. You have accomplished so much in the length of life. But what I love so much of what we've done together in these 4 years is that we've also refused to adjust ourselves to being simply selfish. We've allowed ourselves, as King would say, to be maladjusted to certain things. Yes, you've adjusted yourself to a new climate, a new school, a new community, a new curriculum, but you decided to be maladjusted to selfishness. And you engaged in the breath of life by making community. I've been amazed at watching you all build community during this time. Things like On Call, where you come and gather together and know that it's okay to not be okay. Graduate students have put together things called constructive conversations to help build community. Stanford Votes, E Pluribus, the list goes on and on and on. You've done so much to build the breadth of life, to reach out to make community. And finally, of course, there's the height of life. That is the reach towards transcendence. I've watched all of you do this, all the way from the increase in activism and activity and members in our religious and spiritual life. I've watched you do it through artwork. I've watched you do it through building community that goes beyond just those who think like you. You've done tremendous work in reaching the height of life. And so what I want you to remember when you get your diploma is that it is not just credentialing. It's not just something that says you've made tremendous strides in the length of life and now you have received a certain set of skills. Your diploma, your degree that you'll receive, is actually more of an artifact. It's a religious relic, it's a spiritual relic, and it testifies and bears testimony to all that you've built. I want you to recognize that that's what's in your hand, not just credentialing. It's actually a relic that you can look to time and time and time again as you begin again to remind yourself of all the amazing things you've accomplished, but also some of the losses and failures. And yet here you are, looking tea. This is what your diploma means. This is what it means. It means to have something you can look to that will testify and speak back to you, that whatever the next stage throws at you, you can handle it. And this is how it should be. Because all of our sacred stories that we love, all of our sacred stories that we read, all of them testified of people who encounter difficult tasks, and the divine will ask them, "What's in your hand?" Our sacred texts tell us stories about Moses, who comes and says that he's slow of speech. And God asks him, "What's in your hand?" And Moses says, "All I have is a staff." And Moses will use that staff to help free and liberate people. David goes against Goliath, the big giant. You know the story in our sacred text. And David faces Goliath, and all he has in his hands are a couple smooth stones, and he uses those stones to slay Goliath. And the stories of the gospel, Jesus is being followed by a multitude and has difficulty feeding them. And someone tells him there's a little boy with a couple pieces of loaves of bread in his hand, and he uses those to help feed people. So that's what I want you to think about when you receive your diploma. What's in your hand? What are you going to do when time comes to face the Goliaths, to face the social ills, to face all of them? There is no need for you to be afraid because you know what's in your hand. So I wanted to let you know that I don't know what the future holds. None of us knows what the future holds. Experience tells me there will be joy, and experience tells me there will also be some difficulties ahead. There'll be some giants down the road. There'll be some scarcity down the road. But it's okay not to know what the future holds, because you all know one really important thing. You will know what is in your hand. God bless you, class of 2026. We love you and congratulations.
Don't worry, Amma. I have my passport with me. Don't worry, Amma. I will put the right address for the hotel. Don't worry, Amma. I will lock the door before I go to sleep tonight. Don't worry, Amma. I will be okay. These were some of the constant reassurances that I gave my mother on the 17th of September, 2022, when I first arrived in America to move myself into Stanford. You see, my mom was anxious for me. I was flying to a country I had never been to before and moving myself into college all on my own. My family, they desperately wanted to be here, but they couldn't. Our US visas did not arrive on time, and honestly, those 16-hour flight tickets from Dubai to San Francisco are expensive. That night, when I got to the hotel, I realized it didn't look quite like the photos I had seen online. I foolishly booked the wrong hotel. Turns out I didn't know the difference between Redwood City and Los Altos. However, those were the least of my concerns that night. Growing up, I lived with 4 siblings crammed into one room. I wasn't used to being on my own. So as I tried to fall asleep with the light switched on and my amazing father on FaceTime, because I was too afraid to fall asleep in the dark, I couldn't help but think about what the next 4 years meant. The Stanford University. Me, Lamia Butt, a Fly International student from Al Nahda in Dubai, made it to the Stanford University. No girl in my family has ever left home to live on their own, let alone move to a new country. My grandmother only completed school until the 8th grade, and here I am moving into the Stanford University, me, Lamia Muhammad Sikandar Butt. And when the weight of those questions felt too heavy, I turned to more immediate stressors. How was I to move in on that pouring rain? I mean, who remembers when we moved in? It was crazy. Where would I get a SIM card? How far was the closest Walmart? How would I even get there? But don't worry, Amma, I will be okay, is what I told my mom the next morning in my Uber on the way to 584 Capistrano Way, Bechtel International Student Center for ISO check-in. However, I lied to my mother. I was frightened, but I couldn't let her know that. She was too far away to be anxious about my anxieties. And I know that I'm not some anomaly. I know for a fact that we all have a version of "don't worry, I will be okay" that we have told our loved ones while we have internally questioned every part of our time at Stanford. And as overachievers who are always striving for excellence, I have realized that Stanford students will always have something to worry about. Whether we have to worry about our academics, internships, finances, relationships, or even getting a seat at Coupa when it's bright and sunny outside, our time at Stanford has had its fair share of worries. But when the worries feel too heavy, we know that there is something we can always turn to: the people around us. So I urge you to look around. Seriously, look around. When you look around this room, you see a classmate who stayed up with you till 3 a.m. while you worried about turning in a P-set, a friend who walked you home after a party when you had a little too much to drink, an RA who guided you to resources when it got too tough, a person who lived in the same hallway as you in freshman year, but still manages to smile at you even now, 4 years, whenever you see them around campus, or the familiar face who always happens to be at Green just as much as you, somehow also just as entrenched in you as you. Shout out to the Johnson room. For me, when I look around, I see my roommate and I see my sister, Ella, who would get ready for class in the dark while I slept till 1 p.m. after pulling an all-nighter during finance recruiting season. I see Sarah, who hugged me tight as I experienced my first panic attack and struggled to breathe. I see Alistair, whose family has invited me to every Thanksgiving. And I see Victoria, who has attended every Ramadan iftar with me just so I wouldn't feel alone. For me, when I look around, I see a class of students who are ambitious, incredibly driven, and who will change the world. I mean, there's not a shadow of doubt in my mind regarding the fact that you will all be trailblazers. However, another thing that I do not doubt for a second is that we will be okay. Not because of how smart we are, but because of how we have each other. And post-grad life, it feels worrying. I am perhaps just as worried today as I was when I made my way to Bechtel for ISO. But only this time, the worry, it feels different. Because this time, I am not alone in it, and neither are you. As we leave Stanford tomorrow, Stanford will never leave us. It will be with us wherever we go. It will be in the friend that you call at midnight when the new job feels overwhelming. It will be in the group chat that never goes quiet. It will be in the person who will fly across the country for your wedding, your graduation, your worst Tuesday. It will be in the people sitting next to you right now. So to every person in this room who is quietly terrified about what comes next, I see you. I am you. And to every parent, grandparent, and loved one sitting in this room today, and to those watching from thousands of miles away who couldn't be here with us, who prayed and waited and worried so that we could stand on this stage, we know how much you have sacrificed for us. And we need you to hear this. Your kids will be okay. Not because of how smart they are or because of the degree that they're about to receive, but because of the community they have built here. The people sitting next to them right now who showed up, who stayed, and who did not let them face it alone. In my culture, we believe that a mother's dua, her prayer, is always accepted by God. So Amma, my beautiful, beautiful Amma, I think you prayed very hard on the 17th of September. Because 4 years later, with you and Dad visiting me at Stanford for the very first time for my graduation, I can finally mean it when I say, don't worry, Amma. Inshallah, I will be okay.
As we enter another season in life, may your roots continue to grow deeper and your blossoming radiance continue to expand past canopies and through coverings. May what has been learned guide and protect you. May you continue to shine your brilliance, and may you always find peace.
You stand on a precipice. Again, it was not that long ago that Stanford was an unknown to you. May you feel the comforting presence of friends by your side. But maybe you are a little lonely as you leap. So know this: you have wisdom within you. You hold the tools, maybe at first just to navigate, but then to run, and then to carry others with you as you soar. So go forth in the light of curiosity and hope, and bring that light with you out into the world.
For more, please visit us at stanford.edu.